Stay tuned after this episode for important news about the future of the RV entrepreneur. Spoiler alert, if you don't already subscribe to the RV Life podcast, go do that now.
We have something that's truly innovative here. It's patented, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It tracks the sun all day long. So it really is something new in the space that hasn't seen a lot of innovation in, honestly, the last few decades.
Welcome to the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, the weekly show for nomads, work campers, RVers, and entrepreneurs looking to earn a living or build a business while enjoying the RV lifestyle. This week's hosts are Rose and Glynn Willard. Let's settle in and enjoy the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, brought to you by RV Life.
Welcome back to the RV Life Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Rose Willard, here with my husband, Glynn, and today we're chatting with Tom DeWaard, an avid RVer and Chief Commercial Officer at King, about innovative off-grid power solutions and how they can benefit you as an RV entrepreneur. With over 25 years in the RV industry, Tom is helping King take an exciting step into solar and battery technology. While King is well known for their Wi-Fi, cellular, and TV antennas, they've just launched a brand new line of solar and battery products designed to make off-grid living simpler and smarter. We're talking solar panels that actually track the sun for maximum efficiency and true drop-in lithium batteries with built-in charge controllers, making them user-friendly for any RVer. In this conversation, we explore what energy independence really means for today's RVers and digital nomads, why reliable power is quickly becoming as critical as connectivity, and how King is helping travelers boondock and work remotely with confidence. Tom also shares how his own RV adventures with his family shape the way he approaches bringing these products to market. And at the end, he tackles a fun surprise question left by our previous guest. Whether you're a weekend camper, a full-time traveler, or someone who wants to unplug without giving up comfort, this episode will give you a fresh perspective on RV power and what's possible on the road. So let's jump in after this quick message from our sponsor.
Searching for the perfect campground can be overwhelming, but not with RV Life Campgrounds. With user-generated reviews, RV-specific data, and real-world internet speed tests, you'll have all the information you need to find your ideal spot. Don't leave your camping experience to chance. Trust the experts at RV Life. Visit campgrounds.rvlife.com to start your search.
Hey, Tom. Happy to have you on today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
I can't wait. Glynn and I have been looking forward to this chat, and especially with all King's new solar and battery products that are now going to be available. We can't wait to hear how they'll be helping RVers work and live more freely off-grid. So I wanted to kind of get started first, a little bit about your background, your story. Briefly, just give a quick summary, kind of when you first got into RVing, since this is the RV Entrepreneur Podcast, and kind of what drew you into this lifestyle.
Absolutely. So for me, my journey started when I was, I think, 19, maybe 20. Just a young college kid, and like most college kids, broke and needed some money. So it actually started off as what was going to be just kind of a summer job, a full-time summer job in between classes. And here I am, let me think, 25 plus years later. So what's interesting about that story, though, as you guys probably know, that's not uncommon for this industry. Most people don't really intend to make it a career. They just kind of do it. What I found was that once you get your foot in the door, there's lots of opportunities, and it's a very dynamic industry to take a lot of different career paths. So that's what kept me in. And then just the fun of the industry, what it is we actually do. I always tell people it's far beyond a hobby. It's really more of a lifestyle and a passion. And I like to say I can't think of many other industries that embrace the American spirit quite like the RV industry.
True. So you've been in this industry for 25 years. So what initially led you into the space at King kind of professionally?
Yeah, so I came from the OEM world, doing lots of different roles there. Had a great time for about the first 20 years of my career, and I knew King from the manufacturing world. I used to train on their products, in fact, so I knew the product well. I didn't know the company or the people. We are based up in Minneapolis area, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Go Vikings. But I got the opportunity to go meet them right during the middle of COVID. So it was a very interesting time, as we can all remember. But I got to go meet them and tour the facility, meet the people, and I was really drawn to the company. Every company says we're a family, but at King, it truly is. That's actually what it is. The founders, Susie and Lael King, are still very much active in the industry. A lot of their family members have held senior roles throughout the company's history. Some of them are still active. A lot of them still have a stake in the company's success. So it really is a family, which is interesting and exciting. And one of the things that really opened my eyes to King at that time. And then, I've been there for the last, 5 years now, taking on a few different roles, mostly in sales and marketing, but now as chief commercial officer and getting to run a lot of the business side of the business, working with dealers and some international accounts and OEMs and consumers and everybody else.
That is exciting. So you've worn a lot of hats here in this RV industry. How does your role as Chief Commercial Officer allow you to kind of serve the RVer community in a meaningful way?
Yeah, I love that question. So it's not just my role, but it's also the lifestyle that me and my family live. We are active, avid RVers. We can't do it full time just yet. We still have kids in school, and we're still both working full time, but we get to do it on the weekends and long distance trips. So I really take a lot from those experiences back to the company. When we're out camping and enjoying it and everything's going great, that's good feedback. But the most valuable is when something doesn't work, actually. You get that real world experience, and I can take that back to the team the next week and say, hey, I enjoyed this. Here's a challenge that we embraced. And then we can sit and just kind of problem solve it in a roundtable type setting. The other thing is just when we go out and have friends or family join us, I get some real unfiltered feedback, which I always say is even more valuable than any kind of a paid focus group that you might get, because these are people actually out using their RVs and saying, hey, boy, I would love to have something that would do this, or I would love to solve this problem, and everything's great except for this one thing, and kind of hear their aha moment and take that back to the team and say, hey, is there something we can do with this? And sometimes we make sure we stay within our lane, but as we're going to talk today, that's exactly where our new energy solutions came from, just ideas from RVers.
Tom, I'm in full agreement that if you're going to work in the industry, you need to live the industry to really understand it. Do you feel like the time in campgrounds and asking for all of these opinions, that's exactly what led to moving into the solar world?
Partly, yes. I can't take credit for it for most of it. In fact, that credit belongs to our founders, Susie and Lael King. Again, they're as avid, or maybe even more so than I am, in the RV world, and have been for a long time. And so they were out using their RVs and just asking the questions like any consumer would ask with a solar panel, like, I wish I could get more energy out of this, and I wish my battery would produce more or output more energy. So that's really where it came from, going back a few years now at this point. But just getting that kind of feedback, and our chairman, founder, Lael, he's an engineer. I mean, he thinks that way. So if he gets an idea, he takes it back to the shop and starts tinkering right away until we have a go-to-market piece. And that's really where it came from.
That's great.
Yeah, that builds excitement in the business when you can actually be the engineer, go out and take your ideas and go into the shop and start building.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's dive into these new energy products that you guys are offering. Tell us a little bit more about them.
Yeah, so we're starting with 2 different products in 2 different categories. One of them will be in solar, and that one we're calling the Solar Tracker. It's really exciting because anybody who's investigated getting solar panels might have found that there's a lot of offerings out there, but they're all just kind of flat panels or stationary panels that sit there. And you maybe have the ability to change angle or physically move them throughout the day. But we have something that's truly innovative here. It's patented, and it does exactly what it sounds like. It tracks the sun all day long. So it really is something new in the space that hasn't seen a lot of innovation in, honestly, the last few decades. And then our battery products, which we're calling the King Mojave Power Vault. It's a 300 pure lithium, 300 amp hours pure lithium battery that is designed to be a true drop-in. So your normal house batteries that you'd find in an RV, we designed it specifically where you could drop that right in place. A lot of the other offerings out there are interesting shapes, and they would require some sort of modification. So we wanted to make it as user-friendly as possible. And so I always tell people, if you can change a car battery, you can upgrade to one of ours. It's that simple. Just drop it in, put the terminals back in, and away you go.
So these lithiums, they'll work with any charge controlling system?
There could be some, yes and no. So it depends on what you want to get out of it. You could drop it and start using it. We do have controllers that are built into the battery itself. That's another unique feature.
That's important.
A lot of times you have to retrofit it and get some, like an MPPT or get a Bluetooth monitoring system, add that on, downline, or I guess I should say inline, as the charge is coming in. We built that right into the battery. So I'm glad you asked that, Glenn. That's another unique feature, is that you can actually take a solar panel and plug it directly into our battery. And to my knowledge, that's not done today.
Not only is that easy, you just cut the cost in half.
Right on. That's right.
Yeah.
And just made it easier for people like me, I'm not an electrician, but I could even do something like this. So the other neat thing about the battery is we chose to put it in a metal case. That's really important. There's a little bit of intimidation, I know, around lithium. And part of that is some safety concerns. We've seen some of these videos of Teslas and things like that aren't doing what they're supposed to do, but there's almost always a case where that battery was damaged in an accident or something like that. So it was really important for us to put that in a safe case. That's why we chose to go metal. Adds a little bit of weight, not much, adds a little bit of cost, but it was that important to us to make sure that if something were to go wrong, this battery is protected.
Beautiful. And you mentioned weight. That's incredibly important in any RVer, especially if they're pulling a trailer versus a motorhome that doesn't have the high cargo carrying capacity. How heavy are these batteries, the 300 amp hour?
Yeah, Glenn. So they are about 60 pounds. We're going to have all this information on our website by the time this airs, so customers can get exact weights. But yeah, they're about 60 pounds. So that is, if you compare that to like an AGM or a full lead acid battery, that is considerably lighter. That's the other benefit to lithium.
Oh, for sure.
So many of our listeners, they run businesses from the road or looking to in the near future. How will these new energy solutions kind of help support RVers who work remotely, especially in very remote or kind of rural locations out boondocking?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it is certainly going to be a hate to say must-have, but probably a must-have in that situation, because if you're working remote or if you're homeschooling or whatever it is you need to stay connected to, obviously you have to have devices, laptops, cell phones, iPads, maybe some of our cell boosters or our Wi-Fi boosters. But those products can only get you so far. If they power down halfway through your workday, you're really off grid, like you're dead in the water. So I would say solar and batteries are probably just as important, if not more important, because you have to start with power to be able to do those things.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, was like, how important do you see it compared to connectivity? And you just answered the question. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, you may get an RV and you may not think, oh, I'm just going to go boondocking all the time, but you may be at campgrounds, RV parks, but there will be instances where you will need that extra power, whether you believe it or not. So
how many people have, moving day? Moving day could be half your day, and you might need to do some work, and you're going to pull into a Walmart. You're not going to plug in. You've got to have that power ready to roll.
That's right.
Great example, yeah. And what we're doing right here, that's what we're doing right here, video conferencing, that drains your battery quick, doesn't it, on your phone?
Yeah.
As you guys know. So yeah, you have to stay plugged in.
this system, are we talking just batteries, or do you also have an inverter that goes with this?
We don't yet. We are working with a few different inverter suppliers to maybe come up with a list of preferred suppliers. There's a lot out there. There's a lot of them that are doing it well. So at this time, at this recording, now we're just doing battery and solar.
Okay.
But definitely there's something there in the horizon too that this could just naturally expand into. So I wouldn't rule it out just yet.
A full plug-and-play system that is easily expandable, because 300 amp hours you're going to need, if you're going to go the full day on your computers, you're going to need more like 1200.
Right. Yep. Yeah, and I'm glad you brought that up, Glynn. Our system is expandable, so that's a really unique feature too. So both our solar and our batteries, you can hook them up in series or parallel, whatever system you have there, and you can easily expand one to the next. So that's really great for somebody who's maybe just getting into it and maybe isn't quite sure of their power needs. You can actually start small and then add on later if you need to.
Exactly. And that's how you should do it when you're new to boondocking and you're getting out. You don't know your power needs. You don't need to spend, $40,000 on this insane system that's going to power your air conditioning for 3 days. You may not need that. So the ability to start at 300 amp hours and just drop in more batteries. Now, are these 12 volt or 6 volt?
They are 12 volt. Yes.
12 volt. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, and so how fast do they charge up and all that stuff? Because you don't want it taking forever, right?
Right. Well, that's the other benefit of lithium. That's why all of our cell phones and everything, computers have lithiums. They're a fast charge. They can take a charge a lot quicker, certainly than lead acid, and even more so than AGM. So
they don't have to ramp up the way that the lead acids do. And you do have a temperature issue, but you talked earlier about the trackable system. Now, how many times have we been out boondocking and watched the vans or trailers relocate their position just to track the sun?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so those solar panels that track the sun, that's awesome. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing about that. So our solar has been in the works for a long time. The solar tracker, and that really led to the lithium batteries. That wasn't much on our radar, but again, Lael, doing all of his experimentation and research, discovered that a solar going into an AGM isn't ideal. It'll work for sure, but you're not getting the most out of that solar panel unless you put it into lithium, because it can take that charge really quick. So that's a big piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, that's very true.
I want to kind of go over some misconceptions maybe that RVers have. I've heard a lot, but what have you heard, and are you telling people, educating about more often about the solar and battery?
So we get a lot of use case questions like, hey, I'm going here and I want to power this. Fill in the blanks with whatever you want. The most common is, I think you already said it, Glenn, is my AC. But even beyond that, people, like we were talking earlier with how I need to power my laptop, so I need to run some lights or my refrigerator, things like that. So just trying to help with the education on that. I tell people all the time, and thank God we live in a world now with AI, ChatGPT or whatever your preferred one is, where honestly, I go in it and I just tell it exactly what it is I want to do, what I want to power with it, where I'm going, because that makes a difference. If I'm going to be in Alaska versus Florida, that is different. What time of year I'm going to go, and I let AI do all the math, and it'll tell me exactly how many amps I would probably need on an average day, and then I can size up my batteries and my solar based on that. So education is key, and we're going to help people with that on our website and doing dealer training and doing videos and podcasts like this. But really, with AI at our fingertips, it can do a lot of the thinking for us. So I encourage people to use that tool.
That's so helpful. That was not available, Rose, when we were on the road. I never would have thought to, that didn't exist. You had to read the textbooks and figure this out.
You had to go through all the YouTube videos, like what's everyone doing?
Yeah.
All the Facebook groups. Yeah. So AI is helpful. It doesn't always get things right, but it's learning, and for the most part, it's helpful.
Yeah. Well, and especially those complicated math issues. And, the RV industry, for whatever reason, they've always settled on amperage. How many amps does this fridge put out or this AC put out? So, because I've been in it for a quarter of a century now, it's Boy, it's funny to say that, but it's true. That's just the way my brain works. So when I hear about wattage, when you're talking solar panels, you talk about watts.
Right.
So you have to be able to do that math, how to convert that into amperage. And, when you're talking batteries, you're talking amps and voltage.
And volts.
So there's simple equations, but I trust AI with it. Like you said, Rose, you do have to double check it often, but it's a good starting point, and it makes that task a lot easier and a lot less daunting.
Very cool. So how do you market to, say, weekend warriors versus full-time RVers, especially as more people seek this flexible remote lifestyles?
So yeah, different use cases there, and beyond that, it's we always ask. Because we do connectivity as well. We always ask people, where are you going? Are you going to do a lot of campground camping? You can do a lot of boondocking. That makes a big difference. So that's just as important. But we do want this to be for the masses. We think that it's so approachable. We've made it as easy as possible that anybody could probably pick it up and do it. But as you said, a weekend warrior is going to have different power needs. If you're just going out for 2 days, that's way different than living full time. And so somebody who's a weekend warrior is going to need maybe, a smaller system, probably a smaller system. Somebody who's going full time might need a bigger system. They might even need to consider, if they don't have one already, an onboard generator or something like that, because there could be days where you might have rain for 3 straight days and you don't see the sun. And so you might need to flip that on for a little bit, get those batteries charged up, and then turn it back off. So there's a lot of different cases, a lot of different uses out there. So we want to make sure that we're appealing to everybody as much as possible.
Well, you mentioned to the masses. As far as the sales goes, is this directly to consumer, or does one need to go through a distributor?
No, they can find it at their local retailer, or be it a dealer or one of the big national brands. They can find it there. We will have it online as well. But mostly how we get to the end users through our dealership relationships and those things. So the normal brick and mortar, it should be available there. But as far as online, it's probably only going to be on our website, maybe a few others.
Yeah, so it's a good point about where you're getting these, because you have to know what you're doing to install these as well. So if you know what you're doing, you can buy from your website, correct? But otherwise, you need a professional to install these.
Right. There are some DIYs out there, and it needs to be available. And I know you guys have some competitors that you cannot DIY your own equipment. So
that's exactly right.
Yes.
You're right. So, and we do a lot to support our dealerships. So we do highly encourage buying local. That's important to us. And this will be available across the nation at the brick and mortar stores. But beyond that, it's just, if you have questions, if you need some sort of service at some point, it's always nice to have that relationship. We do a lot to get out there and train the dealerships too. We don't just say, here's a product, figure out how to sell it. It's on us to train everybody to make sure that what we're saying to everybody is singing from the same hymnal that we wrote, so that we are telling accurate information, because there can be a lot of misconceptions out there around new technology, and we want to make sure that we're giving accurate information. So we spend a lot of time putting people on the road, physically going to the stores to do on-site training, and then doing things like this where it's video conferencing, or putting YouTube videos out there, both for dealer use and consumer use, to just get some education out there. So it's really important for us to support the dealerships.
So really, the customer service on your end is focused on the dealerships and the installers.
That's right.
Good.
Looking ahead here, where do you see the future of these energy needs for RVers? More innovation and solar, lithium, something else? I know we're kind of getting ahead, but
no, I love this question, because this is, King. This is what I've been calling Act 3 for King. We've done a few different things. We were in satellite and television, which we still are in those things, and we kind of morphed into connectivity, and now we're getting into energy solutions. So we're definitely thinking long-term on this, and long-term can mean a lot of things, but several decades at the very least. So what we see is lithium will continue to improve. It'll become more widespread. Same with solar. It'll continue to improve. Like most things in technology, as years go by and more people adapt it, pricing should come down as well. That's always encouraging. That's a great thing about being in consumer electronics is most things go up where consumer electronics tend to go down, which is great. And we see a lot more boondocking and off-grid needs. If you look at the demographics, especially since COVID, they have changed dramatically. It is getting younger and to the point where we look at age groups that you never would have looked at 10 years ago. Not a chance. Somebody who's 25 is getting into the RV industry. And now that's a group that's out there. And they RV differently than what their parents or grandparents maybe did.
Yes, right? I was about to say, and inject into that, that demographic, now you're moving into the overland, which is completely different mentality. And, an overlander versus an RVer, they have similar needs, but they really don't mix. They're oil and water when it comes to how they travel.
Very true.
And it's one of those markets that's huge. And to move from just the older active population who has an RV, it is a massive growth for King or in anyone like King moving into this industry.
Yep. And you see it too when you look at the new RVs being put out there by the manufacturers. There's a lot more focus on off-grid need and how can we expand water tanks and how can we expand your days out without having to actually physically plug in.
Yeah, they're smart. They see what's coming ahead as well.
Yep.
They have to.
Yep, they have to. So I want to know what kind of RV you have and what setup you have for your energy needs. Yeah,
so we have a Class A. It's a bunkhouse because we have 3 kids. There's 5 of us plus a dog. So everyone needs their space. So we do have a bunkhouse. It has a bed up above the driver and passenger seat, and then we have the bunk bed, and then we have our suite in the back. And we can take. It's really fun because it's a Class A, so it can get us into some of those luxury RV resorts. But we can also it's rugged enough where we can take it boondocking if we want to. So it's really kind of the best of both worlds and everything in between. So we love using it. In fact, Labor Day is coming up. So we have plans to go out with some friends and do some of that boondocking. As far as power needs, so we are just, at the recording of this, we are just launching. And we have orders in the system for our solar tracker and for our power vault. And so I need to fulfill those first. As much as I want to be selfish and take some of this product for myself, we have to fulfill that first. Once we get ahead of that curve, then we are going to be outfitting our unit to this system. So probably by the time this airs, I'll be singing the praises of my new system, and I can't wait for that. Some of our other employees at the company already have it on their RVs because they're actually based in Minnesota. So they've been part of our beta testing for the last year, I'd say. And so they're already enjoying the benefits. And I'm next in line.
Oh, how exciting. I can't wait for you. Yeah, so we're recording this for our listeners. We're recording this at the beginning of August. And as this airs, it'll be the beginning of October. So there you go. You've got a little better idea of that. So what is your favorite remote camping memory with your family that really made you grateful for having a self-sufficient setup?
So many. I got to think through. Probably the one that stands out the most. There's 2, but the one that stands out the most is when COVID hit. And like most of us, pretty much the entire world, we had plans already, right, to go do these different vacations, and we had cruises set up, and we had different trips, and all that got canceled. We all remember that. We all had to live through that. But like any American, we're like, well, that's not going to stop us. We're still going to get out. And we were forced to be homeschoolers, which I never thought I would ever be, but we, had to become teachers there quick. And so as soon as the school year let out, we thought, well, what are we going to do? So we went and bought our first RV. We'd been using it many years before then, using RVs as demo units from the manufacturer I worked for at the time. And so we had a really good grasp of the RV world and as a consumer and had taken a lot of RV trips, but this is the first one we had ever purchased. And so we did that, and we decided to go, at the time we lived in Missouri, and we wanted to go visit Arizona. And we thought we'd go out for a week. And then we thought, well, if we're in Arizona, maybe we can drop down to SoCal and do a couple of the national parks. And if we're there, why not go up to the Yosemite and Sequoia and do some of that? And then, heck, maybe, we're not too far from Utah, go see the Mighty Five. Oh, and by the way, when I mapped it out, we're going right through Vegas. Let's stop in Vegas, get a little culture in there as well. And so it ended up being just right at a month. And I look back at that and I'm so grateful because what seemed as an inconvenience at the time when the world shut down ended up being one of the best memories we had as a family, and quite a blessing, because what other time in our working careers would we have time to do something like that and have the opportunity to do something like that? So that one definitely stands out. And it's something we talk about as a family often. Remember that time when we were on that trip? We saw the bear, we saw this or that, or we got too close to the edge of the Grand Canyon and Mom said, "Kids, get back." All those different stories that you develop when you're out seeing America.
Yeah, I love how one thing leads to the next, and you're out there for months. I love it.
Tom, you just summarized RVing.
Yeah.
I mean, you really did. You summarized the ability to have your house that's now powered by, King Solar and batteries to just keep going. And which direction you guys want to turn, left or right? Let's go.
Let's go.
Yeah, going back to that, just embracing the American spirit of the adventure and almost feeling like you're in a very comfortable modern way experiencing the West, right? You're out exploring the West. And then again, going back to the industry, just, how much of our industry is truly made in America is something that our industry should be proud of. And I know they are. We don't tout it very much. We probably should more, because it's important to a lot of people, but, made in America just fits into that narrative as much as the stories that we all develop throughout the years.
Mm-hmm. It does.
All right, so where's your next bucket list trip with the fam and the dog?
So many. The one we've been keeping our eye on, we haven't set anything in stone yet, but we would love to take the RV and do the Pacific Highway. Go start in San Diego and don't stop until you hit Vancouver.
Love it.
I have kind of a loose itinerary, but again, the beauty of RVing is that you can keep it loose, and if you want to spend a few more days here or there, you can. So that's definitely on our list. I don't know if we'll get to that next summer, if that's a few more years on the road, but that would be another trip of a lifetime.
Yeah. For our listeners, RV entrepreneurs, they're trying to build or run a business from the road, especially when it comes to staying powered and productive. Do you have any advice for those entrepreneurs?
Yes. So, and it comes back down to real world experience. I do work a lot from my RV. Again, King's very gracious they don't really care where I work. So, there's often times where I'm working from the RV, and so our other employees, we encourage it, in fact. So yeah. Power and connectivity are the two biggest things, right, if you're going to be out there. And so I would say, again, just making sure that you try to evaluate what your power needs truly are. You're not going to get it right the first time. So do some homework and run a couple different scenarios, because what you need this week might be different than what you need next week. So run a few different scenarios and try to kind of land in the middle there somewhere. Figure out your power needs and what sort of system you need to support that power. And same with connectivity. It's pretty easy now to pull up a map of the United States and see where the different cell phone carriers provide coverage, and just try to map it out and say, if I'm going to be in Canyonlands, there's not a great chance of being connected to the internet in that situation. But what can I do to help that situation? Can I get a cell phone booster? Will that extend it far enough? Or do I have to just plan on, if I'm at that particular place, do I need to plan on a day or two without actually getting connected? And is that reasonable for me? So just ask some of those questions, try to plan ahead a little bit. And I think that does a lot to make sure that you're prepared for all scenarios. And my probably closing thought on that statement is have a spirit of adventure and just go with it.
Right on.
So true.
That. Yes. Very true. Where can our listeners find more about King's new offerings, the solar and battery?
Yes, if they go to kingconnect.com, that's King Connect, because again, we're a connectivity company.com, and navigate through there, you can find all the different products that we do, which is, again, TV, antennas, satellite antennas for like Dish and DirecTV. That's still a very big part of the business. That's a great way. If you're going to go boondocking, that is a good way to be able to watch your favorite teams or your news networks or whatever it is you want. You can find our connectivity products, and you'll be able to find all of our batteries and solar products there as well.
Excellent. And we'll definitely be putting those in the show notes. And this is my last question as we wrap up. This is kind of a fun one. Something that I'm starting to do now at the end of every one of my interviews, where my previous guest leaves a question for my next guest without knowing who it'll be for. So that question for you is, what's the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you while RVing?
Oh, that's a fun question to end on. I love it. Now I got to think about the question I'm going to leave for your next host too.
Yes, you do.
This is going to be hard to top. That's a great question. So let me think. There's a list that I can choose from. I'm going to go with one that happened probably 10 or 12 years ago. It was on an RV trip, but it didn't actually involve the RV itself. We were taking the RV out. It was a demo unit that I was, again, using from the company that I was working at. And we decided to take the boat out Friday evening, just kind of go for a real leisure stroll. So it's actually a boat story, but it's still outdoors. And it was, again, while we're RVing. The backstory to that is I just returned from a trade show, an RV trade show in Las Vegas. And if you've been there, anybody who's been there for 3 days understands where I'm going with this. You're exhausted. Sensory overload, you're tired, you didn't get enough sleep. And so an RV trip, honestly, that weekend seemed like the perfect way to unwind, which is what we were doing, taking the boat out. I'm driving the boat, sun setting, it's beautiful out, real slow, and all of a sudden I hear this thumping noise under the boat. And I look down to see that we're probably in 1.5 feet of water. And I'm stuck everywhere I can see around me. And I'm in 1.5 feet of water, and I'm hitting the propeller on the rocks, doing damage to it, but doing even more damage to my pride. Because there are signs everywhere that say, careful, this is a shallow point. And I should have heard my depth finder going off, and I, for some reason, spaced that. And I should have just been able to see, because it was clear water. There was no excuse for this to happen at all. Getting back to the campground, telling my friends about it, and I'm like, yeah, that probably was $1,000 of damage. But again, my pride is really, I might need a martini now. And so they tease me, and to this day they tease me, and they still call it Tom's Point. Yep.
Oh, that's great, Tom.
But it's all in good fun.
Yeah, we have those moments where we just we're enjoying the moment so much, and we space out and we totally forget. And we've done things like that.
Clearly, Tom was suffering from RV exhaustion.
Oh, yeah. It was not
That's a real thing.
That's real.
See, you guys are true friends. You come to my defense rather than teasing me. I like that.
That's right. RVers stick together.
That's right.
Well, is there anything else you would like to add or bring up? Anything we didn't mention?
No, I just want to return the favor and give a little plug here to you guys as your podcast. I'm a listener as well, and I really enjoy it. I pick up a lot of tips from the different interviews you do. You've had such great hosts on, and even being somebody who's been in the industry for 25 years and as a consumer for a lot of those years, I still pick up different ideas and tips by listening to your podcast. So thank you for the service that you guys provide to users and to the industry.
Thanks, Tom. We definitely appreciate that. And yes, we all can learn something from everyone. So we love doing it. Thanks again. So thank you so much for joining us today. We loved hearing how your passion for these RV travel kind of fuels your professional work at King, and then also how King is really stepping up now to meet the real world needs, the energy needs of RVers, especially us working out there remotely or living off grid. So thank you.
Thank you. This was fun.
That wraps up our conversation with Tom DeWaard from King. We loved hearing how his personal RV adventures tie into King's mission and how their new solar and battery products are opening up more freedom for RVers to explore off-grid with confidence. If you want to learn more about King's latest energy solutions, be sure to visit kingconnect.com, and I'll link everything in these show notes so you can check them out. Thanks again to Tom for joining us, and thank you for listening to the RV Life Entrepreneur Podcast. Until next time, keep innovating, keep exploring, and keep carving your own path on the road.
Psst, hey, have you heard? The RV Entrepreneur is merging with the RV Life Podcast. Stay tuned for RV Life Season 2 as we bring you the latest RV industry news, travel tips and destination reports, RV lifestyle hacks, and more RV entrepreneur success stories. You'll hear some new voices of seasoned RVers and industry experts. And we want to hear yours. Share your campfire stories and RVing tips for our new RVer Insight segment. Leave a message now at podcast.rvlife.com/contact. Keep it under 3 minutes, informative and entertaining, and we may just share your story. And if you're not already an RV Life listener, subscribe now. Then stay tuned for the new and improved RV Life podcast, where the RV community comes to listen, learn, and go.